What is up, everyone? It is Diecastbuffet here again. Guys, we have a special 2003 release of a 1996 Terry Labonte championship car. There's a lot to like about this, and we're going to be doing a full diecast review on it. Believe it or not, this packaging is reclosable, very much like what we have nowadays in the Winter Circle line. So this is kind of a 20 years earlier version of the Winter Circle current 2020s style packaging. So we get the reclosable joint. But this was part of a commemorative line for, I think it was about the last 10 years, from 2003 to 1993. It's called the Decade of Champions or whatnot. And it was to commemorate the final lap of the NASCAR Winston Cup Series, and it has a whole bunch of great championship diecasts. So we're going to go ahead and get this off the rotating base. We're going to do a full diecast review on that, and let's go ahead and do so. All right, fellas, so we have it off the rotating base. And again, this is the Decade of Champions line, which is like, it's not a promo release, but it's a special, unique series. Think of it kind of like a bonus wave that we have nowadays with the NASCAR Authentics line. It's something like a Darlington bonus wave or a Daytona one, X, Y, and Z. Something that is a normal retail release, but it is a exclusive one. At least I believe this was retail release. I could be missing the point here, but I think it is a retail release considering there is a little peg joint there. Regardless, so you got the Winter Circle packaging here. You have this holographic kind of the, what do you call it, like a background to it. It looks awesome. Then you have the 1996 champion Terry Labonte. Then you have the Winston Cup trophy. And what's so funny about it, it's hard to see here, but there's actually a Winston W on both sides. If you remember from NASCAR Thunder 2004, they had a very similar championship like this. Of course, it didn't have the Winston logo, but it had the Winston W's. So maybe they got the same render from it. We'll be taking this out, and you'll be able to get a high-definition look at the piece, but we want to look at the packaging. So you have this bubble dome where the diecast actually sits in. Again, very inspirational to what we have now as the time of this video in 2024 with the NASCAR Winter Circle line. I did a video comparing this, so if you want to check that out, feel free to do so. You got Decade of Champions. Let's go to the back end of this Winter Circle piece. Again, this thing was probably manufactured in either late 2002 or what, I don't know. They did put Tony Stewart in this line, so it was at least after Tony Stewart's championship win. I don't know how long they waited for that, but the final lap Winston Cup promotion was something they were working on probably for a year or two. I would not be surprised this came out of the factory December 2002 on the boats, and then it was around the NASCAR universe, maybe spring or late winter or, February, give or take, of 2003. So here's the back end of the packaging. I actually like it. It's kind of clean. There's a lot of stuff here. I wish there would have been maybe some details of the championship. How many wins Labonte got. Did he have, some crucial moments, maybe a few photos? That would have been kind of nice, but it's more or less a universal packaging. All of them are pretty much the same, except they have, the different, driver name and the year number. This is all the different things they used to have. 118s, 124s, 143s, 164s, diecast build kits, trailer rigs, which are your haulers, and fast packs, which are, I don't really understand what they were, but they're like a triple pack of cars. And they were like, they had no contingencies on them. They looked like bootleg test cars. But yeah, they were interesting. So this opens just like your normal Winter Circle diecast. You have the plastic clamshell. I would say the plastic is probably 5% yellowed. I could see a slight haze to it. That's unfortunate. But yeah, it does have this hinge at the bottom, so you just kind of do that. And then you're going to gently pop this out. And there we go. And again, you can see oh, I don't want to damage the car, but you can see how clear and HD this is. The package has got a lot of scuffs. It was probably stored in someone's storage room, their garage, X, Y, and Z. But the card back is, look at that gloss. This thing is got to be a 9 out of 10, right? Very high definition artwork. You could literally hang this up in your room. That's how cool this is. But again, you can see the trophy with Terry Labonte. Really, really cool stuff. And here's a HD look at the rear of the packaging. So I'm going to set this to the side because I don't want to damage it. So we'll take that out of the studio. And the car comes cradled. You can see all the dirt. It has the residue, it looks like, from a thrift store tag or a clearance bin tag. So this one's probably been, it's probably been rotated around, unfortunately. But it comes cradled in this very old school little thing, which is kind of cool. It kind of just bends out like that, and you grab your die cast. And here we go to the actual die cast review. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. This diecast has some quirks to it that I gotta keep it 100% honest with you. I'm not too happy about. But that's what's cool about these diecast reviews, is you really get to kind of go into these reviews. And to the younger fan, a lot of this stuff you probably wouldn't be able to tell, but I'll kind of help you with that. As you know, I've been around diecast my whole life. What is it, like 24 years, 25 years of diecast experience. So there's some quirks of this car I don't like. The first thing, it's the diecast mold. The diecast mold, this is officially, it is the 1996 Chevrolet Monte Carlo. But it's so bulky. This is, I don't think this is that most accurate mold for 1996. I truly don't. I think something is off with it. They used this mold a little bit in 1998 as well. And then they transitioned to the new one. If you have the Pepsi Jeff Gordon 1999 Busch Series car, it's a super overproduced diecast. That was the new late 90s style Monte Carlo mold. It's so accurate to the real car. But for whatever reason, they made a ton of the late 90s Monte Carlos on this mold, which is very bulky. And in my opinion, it just irks me. Now, I don't know if there's any difference between this mold and the 1998 alternate mold that they made the AC Delco Dale Jr. with, but I'm just going to be honest with you, it bugs me. So, this one, it doesn't look terrible, but something looks a little bit off about it. I don't know. So, go to the Kellogg's logo. We got Kellogg's Corn Flakes. Of course, Kyle Larson did a throwback to this paint scheme. The roof logo, or number is... what are they doing? I mean, is that really what Terry Labonte drove? If that's the case, that is a shame. That looks terrible. I'm sorry. I don't know if they warped the decal, but that looks like I don't even know, bro. It looks like I don't even know. So you got the rooster chicken thing there. You got Monte Carlo, just a faint silver outlining for the front grille. That is really, really cool. Surprisingly, there's no contingencies on the front. And another thing that I noticed with this car, and this was on the 1999 Dale Jarrett release from the Decade of Champions line, I think this is the exact same template that they actually used in 1996. Let me grab the Jarrett right here. But I looked at it, and I think this is the exact same casting and decals, or template that they used. So that kind of makes me wonder, they kept this exact template, everything, all the logos. I believe verbatim, every single logo is the same as the 1996 or whatever original release. I think that's the case. And if that's the case, kind of gives you a hint at how far they were actually planning on doing this. If they kept, the templates and the castings and all that stuff, because they were changing out molds so often in the late 90s and early 2000s. It would be very easy for them to throw out the actual casting molds for it, whatever computer files they had, X, Y, and Z. So you got Terry Labonte there, got AC, whatever the biff that is, Slick 50. I think that was a trading card company or something. I'm not sure. Get Kellogg's there, Quaker State, Frosted Mini Wheats, Frosted Flakes, GMAC. I got the number 5 there. Now, this, I think, is accurate. I know the number 5 font is a little bit wonky jaw, but I believe that is accurate. The car looks a lot better if you kind of compress the wheels down. Like, that looks a lot more realistic. But when you have the wheels hanging, it looks really goofy. A lot of the 90s cars had giant wheels, specifically Terry Labonte. I still, like, every time I see a Racing Champions 90s Labonte diecast, I'm sorry, it just bugs me because of how unrealistic the molds are. So I got a ton of contingencies here. I'll let you look at them if you'd like. At the back end of the car, got Kellogg's number 5, Quaker State. I think this was one of the final few years NASCAR did not mandate headlights or taillights. You can see the outlining there, but I don't think they were mandated to have the decals of them, which That was a real thing back in those years. They didn't have to have headlight or taillight decals. Now, this is another one of those things that just drive me bananas. Look at the right side font, okay? Yeah. This diecast has 3 different fonts of the number 5 on here. I'm not kidding. That's what I'm saying. There's something about this diecast that throws it off. And this is one of those cars that I would just rather have a custom made of it, you know, and just put it in my collection. There is some inaccuracies with this. I think I looked at his Richmond win. Was it 1996? I think. I could be mistaken. And the real car is so different than the diecast that got made that year. Naturally, the cars were the diecasts were probably already mocked up, probably late 1995, give or take. And by the time the diecast came about, they probably made changes to the paint scheme. But regardless, when I see a diecast that is drastically inaccurate to the real car, I mean, not like a few contingencies, I'm talking just major flaws, it drives me nuts. Another thing that I'm noticing with this diecast mold is the rear of the car is so much wider than the front. I mean, maybe I'm tripping. Am I tripping here? I feel like the rear of the car is much wider, but the front of the car is more narrow. The front of the car looks like a funny car, and the rear of the car looks like the rear of a NHRA funny car. But again, that roof number is driving me nuts. Yeah, Frosted Flakes and the Raisin Bran Sun thing. Anyways, that is all for today's diecast review, guys. Thank you all so much for watching the video. These were not super duper overproduced, but they're pretty easy to find. They have, you know, the Jeff Gordon ones, the Dale Earnhardt ones. They're really cool. I love the packaging for this. Like, could you imagine if they made a line like this for the last 10 years champions? Like, what if they did a line of all the Sprint Cup champion cars, right? From 2008 to 2016, and they made a commemorative version, the COTs, the Gen 5, Gen 6, X, Y, and Z. I think that's really cool. What a cool idea. And there's a lot of great products they did in 2003 that were just kind of like, they took years to build up. They did the, oh, my bad, I just bumped the camera, forgive me. If you remember in 03, they did a special paint scheme for every Winston Cup champion. Now, Winston sponsored NASCAR back, I think, in the mid-70s. So from, like, I don't know, 71, 75, whatever it was, up till 2003, had a ton of different champions. Well, they had a unique paint scheme. And they actually got the die-cast made for them. So you could find Jeff Gordon's special paint scheme. You could find Bobby Labonte's, Tony Stewart's, X, Y, and Z. And what it was is the top of the car was silver, and then it had like the Winston Cup logo and stuff on there. Really cool stuff. And they actually made those in the 1/64 scale. You can collect those in the Winter Circle line. They actually made it. Yes, the Winter Circle line. And then they also made it in like the... what do you call it? The hood opening joints, like the more RCCA Elite type stuff. So again, 2 really cool production lines that were exclusive to 2003, the final lap of the Winston Cup. That's all for now, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. And this card's actually aged pretty well in terms of the plastic. I don't see any yellowing on this. That's all for now. Diecast Buffet. Signing off.